Yeah, that trailer's all cool and all, but you have to remember, in the context of the movie, his house gets blown up because Tony lets his address out to all the bad guys on national television. And so they were all just like, okay, let's go ahead and just come to you and then destroy your house. I mean, that's one of the many, many problems that this movie has to attest to, but we will go through all that as we go along here. Welcome to Time About the Movies. We only have one movie to look at for May 3rd, 2013, and it is, of course, the biggest new release of the weekend, no question about it, because it's the movie that starts off the summer 2013 movie season, and needless to say, let this one kind of be the equivalent to Spider-Man 3 and Iron Man 2, where the summer movie season gets off on kind of a low note, because, yeah, this is not a very good month for movies, and we're going to show you why in just a little bit here. A lot of big, highly anticipated movies, very disappointing outcomes for most of them. We'll touch on the good ones too, but let's start off with Iron Man 3. Now, this one was a big deal because it's the first Marvel movie after the events of the Avengers. You know, the Avengers blew everybody's expectations away. Everything was high across the board on what people were expecting from Phase 2 of this. And, you know, Iron Man 3 comes out, and you get excited because Shane Black is coming to direct this one. You know, he and Robert Downey Jr. worked off each other with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang 8 years prior, made for a great movie. What was the end result of this? Let's just go ahead and just delve into it here. You have brash but brilliant industrialist Tony Stark, Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., once again facing off against another villain, this time the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley, whose reach knows no bounds. When Stark finds his personal world destroyed in his enemy's hands, he embarks on a harrowing quest to find those responsible. With his back against the wall, Stark is left to survive by his own devices, relying on his ingenuity and instincts to protect those closest to him. As he fights his way back, Stark discovers the answer to the question that has secretly haunted him. Does the man make the suit, or does the suit make the man? And I'll say this. Iron Man 3 really did well at the job it was supposed to do. It was an Iron Man adventure without the Avengers to help him. People really got upset about that because, you know, the Avengers weren't going to be involved in this movie overall. But if the Avengers were actually involved in this plot, then you can be honest, that you can be sure that this thing would be over in 10 minutes' time. But with all that said, though, this was kind of a major letdown in general. I mean, yeah, everyone was expecting a movie on the level of the Avengers, but then again, it shouldn't be on that level. It should try to be at least better than Iron Man 2, because Iron Man 2 wasn't a bad movie, but it was definitely a been there, done that type of sequel. But, you know, this at least it managed to at least be better than that, sort of, but when the problems come into play here, the problems really do come into play here, and I'll touch on those in just a little bit here, but I do like that Shane Black puts his usual techniques in here. You see it taking place in Christmas time, and yeah. So you're going to assume this takes place 6 months after the events of the Avengers. And the action sequences are very nicely done. You know, the centerpiece of the action sequences, the house explosion, which looks really good as the trailers make it out to be. It's a great scene that has a lot of tension, and just one of the more amazing set pieces of the film that proves its worthiness to be seen on a big screen. The comedy is actually really good here. It's incredible because the two trailers they used to promote this are nothing but the dark stuff. But, you know, there is a lot of dark movies that are going to use the darker elements, especially in the summertime. And yeah, we're going to see it with Star Trek 2. We're going to see it with Fast and Furious later in the month. Hangover, a comedy, is going to have darker elements to it for some reason. Yeah, like I said, this is a very, very bad month for films in general here, but the characters are great as usual. Robert Downey Jr. is once again great as Iron Man. Don Cheadle and Gwyneth Paltrow, they're given much more character development in this, especially Paltrow, who's got a bigger role in this film. And even Jon Favreau gets a slightly bigger role than he did in the last two movies, mostly in the beginning of the film. But I also like that it wasn't long at all. Going just a little over 2 hours, the pacing was timed perfectly. I thought they did a pretty good job at it. I even like the callbacks they made at the beginning of the movie, where you see a flashback to Tony's past, and you see Jensen at one of the parties that he's at, and you know that's kind of cool to kind of bring it back full circle with a character that helped him get out of the situations he was in the first Iron Man movie. And then the movie falls apart with a couple of big things. One, the new characters are pretty lackluster. So you see in the trailer, it's Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin. It starts off pretty cool. I actually did like the big twist that they had for him. The fact that, you know, Ben Kingsley wasn't really the Mandarin. He was just an actor pretending to be the Mandarin. I thought that was actually kind of a fun idea. You know, Oz the Great and Powerful kind of touched on a similar situation with, you know, Glinda the Good Witch kind of knowing that Oz was not really who he said he was. And, you know, I thought they were going to really do that overall in this movie. But then you realize that Guy Pearce's character is supposed to be the real Mandarin. And as much as I like Guy Pearce as an actor, I'm sorry, he was fucking pathetic. He is not a threat at all. He is nowhere near as threatening as as Ben Kingsley was. You know, there's a joke on The Big Bang Theory once where Leonard told Penny that Sheldon Cooper is one scientific accident away from becoming a supervillain. Guy Pearce was Sheldon Cooper in this movie, and not in a good way. It's a movie that takes a twist that works and turns it into one of the most pointless and stupidest things ever. This thing really ruined the last 30 minutes of the movie for me. It really just took me out of it. Just kind of like, this is really the bad guy we're going to have to go with here. He's just another guy in a suit. He's Sam Rockwell all over again in Iron Man 2 and Jeff Bridges in the first Iron Man. Just like, come on, man. Like, this is so pathetic. He's the worst one of the bunch here, too. It's just like, he is so bland, he's so mundane, and he's just so pathetic. And his whole army, the extremists and all that, they're lame, too. And the ending is just such a massive, massive joke of an insult. I mean, it's not fun at all. It just ruins kind of the ebb and flow of the movie in general. And it really took me from liking the movie to really just kind of like going like, wow, I am almost on the cusp of hating this movie. I don't hate it, but it's real close. Like, this is probably, without a doubt, the more I think about it, worse than Iron Man 2 was. And, you know, I said at first I kind of liked it more than Iron Man 2. I did, up until we got to that last 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden, that last 30 minutes comes around and just kind of like, well, here we go again. It's just like, I'm sick and tired of it, man. Like, for a third Iron Man movie, you have to go bigger than that. Like, this is really, really pathetic of a villain that really ruins the ebb and flow of a movie. And I say it many times before in the past, like, a bad character, a bad storyline, a bad villain can really ruin your last 30 minutes if you're not your third act if you're not careful. Here's a prime example of that happening with this movie. So overall, I liked Iron Man 3. I don't like it as much as I did when I first came out of it. I would say that it's definitely the weakest of the Iron Man films. And, you know, the action can be good. The comedy can be really good. Most of the older characters are fun to watch. Shane Black's good script overall, does a good job, and direction propels it to a film that works on its own merits. But once that twist happens and they show who the real villain is and we get to the third act, it really ruins the flow to the point where you almost are guaranteed to want to pretend like you never want to see this movie again. It took me a long time to really get back to this one because, yeah, I liked it at first, but I had no urge to watch it again. I've seen the original Iron Man multiple times before going back and watching the sequels again, getting ready for the show. But yeah, this movie really is a film that's good, but really could have been a whole lot better, especially with Shane Black involved. And it's just one of the signs that Shane Black probably should stay away from these blockbuster caliber movies because 5 years later he get another shot at it with The Predator, and that didn't work out very well. Hell, I just saw his latest movie, Play Dirty, with Mark Wahlberg and Lakeith Stanfield. Not a blockbuster, but even that one's not that great. Maybe he's losing his muster after all these years. I don't know. But he won't lose his muster with the next movie he'll make, The Nice Guys, which we'll get to in 2016, but yeah, Iron Man 3, mixed bag, slightly a recommendation, but not really one I would say you're going to want to watch it as much as the other Iron Man movies. It's okay. It's kind of a major letdown, and yeah, especially after the Avengers, but hey, give it this. It's certainly going to be better than the next MCU movie we'll touch on in November, Thor: The Dark World. So yeah, not off to the best start for the summer of 2013, but at least next week we do have at least one good movie that I can talk about. Next time we meet, we take a look at Baz Luhrmann's latest film, The Great Gatsby, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Joel Edgerton, Carey Mulligan, and who else is in there? Tobey Maguire, based of course off of F. Scott Fitzgerald's best-selling book, and probably my favorite Baz Luhrmann film overall, the one that I watch a lot. We'll take a look at The Great Gatsby. We'll also take a look at Tyler Perry's latest film, Peoples, with Craig Robinson and Kerry Washington in it. Two films to take a look at next time around. We'll touch on those tomorrow. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.